Okay, next question. INFP here. I spend so much time fitting in, but in my heart, I don't feel like I belong anywhere. Friends, family, and coworkers all feel so estranged from me somehow. It's not that I'm a difficult person to get along with, or that I don't like these people. I'm just lacking a sense of kinship and feel different somehow. Is this weird? Is there anything I can do to find my tribe? This is a great question. So we're speaking to an INFP. Thank you for asking this question. Something I'd like to start with here is to really recognize that you are different, and maybe you're weird, but there are other people who are weird too. There's loads of us, INF types in particular. Even though our functions are different, the 4 people within us are all different, we experience life, everyday life, in a very similar way. Things manifest to us in a very similar way. So, yes, there are people who are as different as you are, but I would start with acknowledging that you are different and that that's not a bad thing. So, I'm getting a sense from your message a little bit like you have been told maybe that being weird or being different is a bad thing. Now, how can we take that back? How can we stop that dialogue? How can we stop that message? Because there are people who believe that. There are people, conformists, who think that everybody should be the same. And that's fine for them. But it doesn't really work for INF types, in particular for INFPs. You feel strongly about things, you have a clear vision of how things should be, and that is why the world doesn't go on the wayside. Because of you guys. So you guys are amazing. And is it weird that you don't have a sense of kinship with other people? It's not really, because if you think about INFJs and INFPs together, we make up about 8% of the world's population. So if you have 100 people at your place of work, there's, not that many people. There's 8 people out of 100 that are INF types, whom you might, be able to build something. If you have 10 people in your place of work, how many people do you have? You have 0.8 people who are INF types in that space, and you're that person, which means that for every, you have to have at least 20 people in your place of work in order for you to find another person that can relate to you. So that's why I would say we need to acknowledge the difference that we have. We are different, and that's not only okay, that's a freaking treasure right there. So what I would say to you is, instead of kind of turning to friends and family and co-workers for this kind of space, use platforms such as our INFJ INFP healing group to find similar people and start real conversations. Don't just post memes and stuff. I mean, memes are great. We do have a rule that you don't just post memes unless you're posting some kind of context for it, because there's no point. If your connection with people is just skin deep, which is what memes are generally, if there's no context, if there's no real meat to it, we're just validating each other's capacity of intuition. And that's not ever going to be enough to build a sense of belonging. In order for us to truly belong, we have to feel our sensory part of us needs to feel like they belong, because that's the part that recognizes the sense of belonging, real, true belonging for us. So for INFPs, it's the 10-year-old inner child inward-facing sensing, which is the historian. And of course, for INFJs, the 3-year-old inner child in outward-facing sensing. So when that sense of when that sensory part of us is in the inner child space within us, we are unlikely to have great capacity to form those bonds and that kinship anyway. So you're effectively wired for it to be hard for you to create kinships. Plus your, less than, 7% of the world's population. That's, that's not an easy one to just all of a sudden find these kinships. It takes time, it takes effort. If it's important to you, it's like any other investment. So if let's just say that when you're 14, you start saving 70% of all your money that you make and you live on the 30%. And by the time you're 25, you're able to buy a house. Building relationships are the same thing. It's like you have to put in the effort. You have to put in the hard yakka, so to speak, what they call it, hard work here in Australia. So you must. It's not a once-off event and now all of a sudden magically you have a tribe. That's like winning the lottery. The odds are not great. I mean, you can do it. It can happen, but the odds aren't great. But with this space, take an approach where you're building that. And by building the kind of kinship and the sense of belonging, you will have to let us see more of you. We can't accept you. We can't offer you that sense of belonging if we don't know who you are. So find people that you trust and you respect and start a dialogue with them and start, asking if you can join their space. You're already in the INFP healing group on Facebook. It's a good place to start, because if anybody comes back to you with anything that's not supportive, there are consequences to that as well. We're here to grow, we're here to heal, we're here to become the best version of ourselves, and we're here to support you. So I hope that answers that question. So that is all the time we have for today. Sarah, I will be answering your question in a separate video, I think. I think I'm just going to make a video on Sarah's question, which is, I'm wondering if you all might have some advice regarding boundaries. I have someone in my life who continuously violates the boundaries I set. So I'll be talking a little bit more about the boundaries, but in the meantime, I do recommend that if you haven't already gotten the 4 People Within course, you can go on to merjasumiloff.com to grab it from there. The full course, as I said, is less than $120 US. Very affordable. If you need a payment plan, let us know. We're just an email away. We're here to do this. We're here to create change over 20 to 50 years. We're not worried about today's or tomorrow's profits. If you can't pay it straight up, no worries, we'll make it work. All right. Thank you everyone for your questions. We will continue again soon. I hope you'll have a good week. Stay safe, stay happy, and keep healing. Thanks everyone. Take care.